When a street food stall challenged fine dining, it had no reservations, no dress code, no reputation, and yet chefs crossed the city just to stand in line. This story matters now because authority in food is still measured by setting, price, and polish. We assume refinement requires formality, but sometimes the most disruptive ideas rise from places with nothing to lose. To understand how a single street food stall challenged fine dining itself, we need to return to a corner where hunger mattered more than prestige. Because today, the same assumptions still decide who gets taken seriously. The stall opened out of necessity. A cart, a burner, a handful of ingredients chosen for resilience, not elegance. The cook had no culinary training, only repetition. Years of feeding neighbors, night workers, anyone with a few coins. The food was direct, loud with flavor, unapologetic. No substitutions, no explanations. You ate it standing, quickly, often burning your fingers. It was not meant to be analyzed. At first, it served the usual crowd: construction workers, taxi drivers, students, people who needed food, not experience. But then something shifted. A chef stopped by after service one night. Then another. They tasted, paid, and left without comment. They returned again days later. Word spread quietly through kitchens, not dining rooms. What they found unsettled them. Techniques they struggled to refine existed here instinctively. Balance achieved without theory. Depth built without vocabulary. The stall did not imitate fine dining. It ignored it entirely. Soon, the line grew longer. Cameras appeared briefly, then disappeared. The cook refused interviews. The stall remained unchanged. Same spot, same hours, same food. Fine dining institutions reacted defensively. Critics dismissed it as novelty. Others romanticized it. Both missed the point. The stall was not trying to rise. It was forcing others to look down. And that challenge would soon become impossible to ignore. As attention intensified, the stall became a quiet benchmark. Chefs tasted it not for inspiration, but for calibration. They returned to their kitchens unsettled, questioning assumptions they had stopped noticing. The cook remained indifferent. No menu changes. No adjustments for newcomers. Ingredients arrived the same way they always had. By availability, not trend. By feel, not formula. The contrast sharpened. Fine dining rooms invested in storytelling, technique, and spectacle. This stall offered none of it. And yet, the food landed harder, cleaner, more honest. Guests began comparing experiences. Not prices, not settings. Satisfaction. A street corner delivered what white tablecloths sometimes failed to. Comfort without explanation. Flavor without performance. Institutions reacted predictably. Some chefs dismissed a stall publicly while copying its elements privately. Others sent staff to study it, hoping to extract method from instinct. None succeeded. The stall resisted translation. Remove it from its context, and it lost force. Its power lived in immediacy, in hunger, in repetition without ego. Pressure mounted to formalize. Investors approached with offers. Media promised recognition. Awards floated possibilities. Every proposal carried the same assumption. That elevation required transformation. The cook refused all of it, not from ideology, from clarity. Change would not improve the food. It would only complicate it. That refusal became its loudest statement. The stall did not need validation. Validation needed the stall. And with that inversion, the hierarchy of dining began to wobble. The real conflict was no longer about quality. It was about authority. And authority does not yield easily. The resistance grew louder as the implications became unavoidable. If a street food stall could rival the emotional impact of fine dining, then the hierarchy itself was fragile. Culinary institutions pushed back subtly. Lists excluded it. Guides ignored it. Critics framed it as folk culture, not cuisine, a way to admire it without taking it seriously. But chefs knew better. They returned after failed services, after menus fell flat. The stall became a reset button, a reminder of why they started cooking at all. The cook noticed none of this, or chose not to. Every night followed the same rhythm. Prep, heat, service, close. No feedback loop, No optimization, just repetition refined by time. That consistency became defiant, while others chased relevance. The stall stayed still. Its refusal to adapt became its greatest disruption. Eventually, the line became impossible to ignore. Politicians stopped by quietly. Food writers lingered anonymously. The stall entered conversations it never asked to join. Then came the confrontation. A prominent fine dining group publicly invited the cook to collaborate. The proposal framed it as opportunity, resources, recognition, legacy. The cook declined with a sentence that spread quickly. This already works. That refusal landed harder than any criticism. It exposed a truth many avoided. Innovation does not always move upward. Sometimes it stands its ground. The stall had not challenged fine dining by competing with it. It had challenged it by existing. And that realization pushed the story toward its final reckoning. The reckoning did not arrive through conquest or collapse. It arrived through acceptance. Fine dining did not disappear. It adjusted. Chefs stopped assuming refinement required separation from everyday hunger. Menus loosened. Flavors grew bolder. Techniques served feeling again. Quietly, the stall reshaped kitchens that would never acknowledge it publicly. The stall remained unchanged. Same corner, same heat, same urgency. Its influence traveled without attribution, the way the most honest ideas often do. Years later, the line still forms. Not because of legend, because of trust. People know what they will get, and they know it will be enough. The stall never claimed to redefine anything. It never needed to. By refusing to move upward, it forced others to look inward. Today, as conversations about value, access, and legitimacy continue, this story feels essential. Not every challenge needs a platform. Not every truth needs elevation. Sometimes, the most powerful statement is to stay exactly where you are. What the stall story also reveals is something about where authenticity actually lives. Fine dining has built an elaborate apparatus for producing authenticity, training, sourcing, provenance, narrative, the careful construction of a story about why this food, made this way, by these people, in this place matters. That apparatus is not dishonest, but it is constructed. It is authenticity mediated through language, through design, through the deliberate presentation of choices made to appear inevitable. The stall had no such apparatus. It produced food that was authentic not because it was narrated as such, but because it was not narrated at all. The cook did not have a story about the food. The cook had the food. The difference is enormous. When a kitchen tells you why what you're eating is meaningful, it places the meaning outside the food. In the story, in the sourcing, in the heritage claim, the meaning exists at a level of abstraction that the plate itself must then justify. When a kitchen offers no narrative, the meaning, if there is any, must live entirely in the eating, in how the food feels in your mouth, in what it does to your appetite, in whether it satisfies in a way that only things that are actually right for you can satisfy. The chefs who stood in line at the stall were not there because they found it charming. They were there because the food was right, not right according to theory, right according to the body. That rightness is extremely difficult to construct. It can only be arrived at through the kind of patient, repetitive, context-embedded practice. That produces instinct rather than knowledge. The cook at the stall had that instinct. Decades of same people, the same hour, the same hunger. Decades of feedback so immediate and honest that every error was corrected before it could become habit. Fine dining, for all its sophistication, often lacks exactly that feedback mechanism. The distance between the kitchen and the diner is managed, mediated, cushioned, which makes it harder to know, truly and quickly, when something is not right. The stall had no cushion. The food either worked or it didn't. And decades of that unmediated feedback produce a kind of certainty that no amount of training could replicate. The stall challenged fine dining not by being louder or bigger or better funded, by being more honest about what food is for, about who it is for, about what happens when you remove everything except the thing itself, and discover that the thing on its own is already enough. When a